All right, thank you, Chairman Cam, Steve. Good morning, everyone. My name is Councilmember Casey Thomas, representing Council District 3, and it's my pleasure today. I serve as chair of the Economic Development Committee for the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. I see my co-chair, Dr. Seabrooks, is on. Dr. Seabrooks, good to see you with us. It is my pleasure to introduce my colleague, someone who leads the Economic Development Committee for the city of Dallas. He was the first and only African-American chair of the Economic Development Committee in the history of the city of Dallas. He represents District 8, which borders District 3. This is his second go-round on the council after serving the full term of 8 years, and he is back for more fun. He has did an excellent job of leading us through and chairing the Housing and Economic Development Committee when we approved the comprehensive housing policy. And so now we're in the process, and he'll talk more about this. He's leading our effort to review and update our economic development plan and policy. And so I'm honored that he was available to be our special guest this morning, and none other than Councilmember Tennell Atkins. Before he begins, again, if you have any questions, put your questions in the chat. He's going to share his vision, share some comments. I'll ask maybe 1 or 2 questions, then I'm going straight to the chat. So if you have any questions for Councilmember Atkins, put them in the chat. And this time, I present the psalm introduced to others, none other than the Councilmember for District 8, Councilmember Tennell Atkins.
Thank you, Chairman Thomas. You're doing a marvelous job. I know that you are heading up the COVID-19 chairman as the Economic Development Committee. You're doing a marvelous job there. Thank you for doing that. I also, Chairman Thomas, you have represent your District 3 to the fullest. You have more economic development going over there. And I know you got a big vision, a big picture coming up in August the 26th, I believe, August 26th of September, over in Henson Field. Great project. I'm going to talk about that project this morning because you are there, and that's part of Oak Cliff, and people need to know what is going out through the whole district. Let me start with that we started 2 or 3 years ago saying that we did not have a housing policy and we did not have a economic development policy. We did not have a transportation policy. Along with Chairman Thomas and I and other colleagues, we did come out with a housing policy. And that housing policy was a first draft of the policy. Right now, I'm not chair of housing. Chad West is the chair over there. I think he's doing a marvelous job to get that done. It was a great foundation that we put, but I know we have Casey over there in housing who are part of the housing policy, putting everything together in last year. To do that, we are gathered here to have 3 different policies that cannot be in silos. Policy, now we're trying to get economic development policy, and now we're trying to get a transport. All 3 of those policies got to blend in together. They can't work independent. And for so many years, we have been working independently, and we got to work together as one. So what I did was, first thing I did, came back, and we said, okay, let us start with the council. Let a council member appoint someone to the task force, and every council member had appoint 1 person. The city manager appoint another 5 person. The mayor appoint someone to this economic development policy committee. And so we got 25 people on this committee that looking into how do we write an economic development policy. But we also asked for the community. So we asked the council member to go and pick someone in the community to serve on that committee. So to that point, we also have someone to give us direction how we to do this, executive committee. What I done found out in the city of Dallas that we have been sitting back, and I go back at Oak Cliff Chamber. Oak Cliff Chamber, I can go all the way back with Bob Stimson, go there with Dr. Tandy, with Dr. Tandy over there. It took decades and decades to get Oak Cliff where they need to get. Dr. Tanner started that, and he kicked the baton to Bob Stimson. Bob Stimson kicked the baton to Ed Oakley. Ed Oakley kicked it to to Dr. Garcia. Dr. Garcia came to Della Hosso. Della Hosso changed the boundaries, and Scott Gregg came, now it's Chad West. So that's a whole lot of different council member cases that took Oak Cliff to the next level. And now you see the benefit of almost 50 years. I mean, you're talking about 40, 50 years, the benefit. Now you see the Zane and Jefferson, you see the Oak Cliff, you see Jim Blake doing development over there around Jefferson. But what we have here is not just about Oak Cliff, it's about the whole city. It's not about District 3, a District 4, a District 5. It's about what is south of I-30. And what we got to concentrate on, and I think Chairman Thomas been doing a great job to getting people job ready. Dr. Seabrook said, how did we get people ready to go to work? The biggest problem is we always have been a bedroom community. When I said a bedroom community, we go all the way back to the 70s. TI. When TI was back in Richardson, and guess what? 65% of TI workforce, guess where they came from? Oak Cliff. 5% rate came from Oak Cliff. But then too, TI should have been moved to Oak Cliff so people get to the house. But we was a bedroom community. We always have been a bedroom community. And how did we get out not being a bedroom community? Okay, let's follow Chairman Thomas' direction. First, we got to be job ready. Train people. And we got to train people in our own backyard. We got to have quality of life. We got to have trails. We got to make sure our street is fixed. We got to make sure a clean neighborhood is a safe neighborhood. We got to make sure that when people come to our city, are we qualified? Are we job skilled? Dr. Seabrook in the education corridor, a long partnership with Paul Quinn College, UNT, Cedar Valley, and those colleges is the education corridor. They got to be working together to make sure we train the citizens. We started a project way back in 2006, the Inland Port was going to create 50,000 jobs. And we put almost $25 million for infrastructure in the Inland Port. And guess what? When we did that, people didn't know what the Inland Port was about. But what they really didn't know about logistics. Dr. Seabrook, UNT, we had thousands of jobs about logistics, and they weren't ready, Casey. And then what we had to do, around and get these schools trained them about logistics to get them qualified for the job. So job training is very important. And what we're doing right now, we are making sure that when people get jobs, we got to train them. Look at Redbird Mall, Reimagine Redbird at Casey College. Hey, we as council, we can't be jealous of each other. We got to work together. I see council members like Mr. Thomas put millions of dollars in his discretionary fund into the project, but not even his district. You said, why should he put money into another district and not his district? But he know it's going to benefit his district also, because borderline, we just not a brick wall on Camp Wilson. It's Oakland. You do not get a pass to go through the north and south of Camp Wilson, but we got to work together. All got to work together in order to have true economic development. But we got to also hire within our neighborhood. Hire within our neighborhood, we got to train people in our neighborhood to hire. To do that, we talk about transportation. In economic development, you cannot have jobs and get people without mobility. Most people in the southern part of town need mobility to get to work. We got thousands of jobs in the port. Guess what? From Oak Cliff, how do you get to the port? You got to go all the way downtown. You don't go east and west. We got to make sure we do have people to get to work. And what are we doing in economic development to make sure we got mobility to get to work? The mobility work with transportation? Yes, they work together. So what about the homeless? The homeless people society, that those people who lost their job, how do they get back in the workforce? Now we got to make sure we got to get adequate houses for them. Chad West doing a great job with the veteran, trying to put those people back in the housing. When we put those in the housing, we got to have wraparound service. Wraparound service to train them, to educate them, to make sure they got a service to get back into real life. The ex-offenders, we got to do the same thing with ex-offenders. The reentry program that we got to grant. To do that, we got to go back into the prison system to track them out of the prison system to the residents to get them back into reality, back into the citizens of Dallas. But what do we do? Chambers, great question. What do we do? Things like we're doing today at Chairman Thomas doing. Let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. Every idea is not a bad idea. Every question is not a bad question. And Dr. Seabrook, you know, at Cedar Valley, you got hundreds of millions of dollars going over there in Cedar Valley. But the point is now, you got people, but we don't have housing over there for those people to go to work in the port and have housing. That is part of economic development. If you don't have housing, how can you draw and how can these major companies come over there? In the inland port, just around Cedar Valley, you got Amazon, you got Federal Express, you got Kroger, you got all these corporations, major Fortune 500 over there, but we don't have housing and we don't have the adequate training for that area. But what do we do about it? We as a city is $1. Mayor Johnson is Brandon this and Casey, thank you. With your ad hoc committee, you're doing a great, marvelous job to pulling all these chairmen together. I think on your committee, we probably got every chairman that it is in the city of Dallas on your committee. And that's going to show that you can have all the committed, even quality of life, even transportation, even housing, economic development. You can have all these committed, not working silos. But what we're trying to do is knock the working silos. We're trying to get out of silos. How do we get out of silos? Number one, we need to brand our city. We don't have a brand. $1 is one our brand we're going to come out with, $1. We also got what? We got 14 districts. 14 districts, I consider 14 different cities. One city, but if 14 cities in one city, that's $1. And every district has something different, very unique to offer. Very unique. We got projects that are going on in the city now, and people don't even know what is the vision of this project. About a project, Mr. Thomas is going to talk about it. We know he's going to talk about it. I know we're going to hear everything about it when it comes up to city council for the vote against the field. I don't let him toot his own on that. But just imagine that you got a project in the next 10 to 15, 20 years, going to be another downtown, another city within the city. That's District 3. You know, you talk about Lee Climbing over there at Valley View, Midtown. It's going to change. It's going to be another project. You look downtown. You look at Carolyn Arnold, down there in 10th Street. You look at the Bridge, the southern sector. I mean, you look at all these stuff in here. You look at UT Dallas. Dr. Seabrook, look at Valley View. All the money you're going to put in. Look how they're going to build around. But yes, if we turn around and give you a number and say how many jobs have been created in the last 21 months in Oak Cliff, or you want to call Oak Cliff in southern part of Dallas, we're talking about 5,000 jobs or more that have been created. And most of those jobs have been paid over $15 an hour. Most of them have been paid over $40,000, $50,000 a year, plus benefit and plus salary and plus insurance. But how do we get there? Oak Cliff Chamber, hey, y'all doing a marvelous job. But Oak Cliff Chamber, we gotta not work in silos. We gotta bring everybody to the table. And I think that's something that Chairman Thomas said. You bring everybody to the table. You bring the Citizen Council, you bring North Dallas Chamber, you bring every chamber, the Black chambers, you bring every chamber, non-profit, you bring everybody in one room and say, what is your expertise in? But then too, one thing we gotta say, how do we sell Dallas? We cannot sell Dallas just by waiting for the phone to ring. We got to go out. And I know, Chairman, you went down to Houston, you know, economic development, try to sell Dallas. You didn't try to sell the suburb. You were trying to sell Oak Cliff. And that's your job, economic. You want to sell Oak Cliff. I mean, that's what we got. We got to sell our neighborhood. We got to have salesmen in every part of the city to sell our neighborhood. But to do that, we got a great assistant manager over economic development, Dr. Johnson. He knew he was doing a marvelous job. We're trying to put the groundwork. We're trying to put a strategy in place. We're trying to do everything in place that we can do. But remember, we got a kind of brand new Office of Economic Development, and Dr. Johnson is kind of You know, he is working through the fire hose right now. You know, he got 14 council members putting him in the mirror and saying which way to go, and he got to learn to say the dollars. The one thing he did, he moved Oak Cliff. That's what he did. He moved Oak Cliff, and he also put his kid in school in Oak Cliff. So he's here, he's a resident. But let me just get to the meat. I'm gonna open up a question, Casey. But the point is that what can we do? Entrepreneurship. What can we do? I want to change this mess. Anything south I-30, and the other two cities, we 50% of the property tax, 85% is north, but we got the same voting record as everyone else. We live in a city of Dallas, 50% of the population over here. But why we don't have high rise? Why we don't have office building? Why we don't have restaurant? I know Bishop Art had restaurant, but all through the whole city. Why we don't have no more upscale houses? Why we don't have the six-figure income coming over here? It's our fault. Because we got to demand, we got to get prepared to get that. And I want to just open up, Chairman said, tell me, how can we help the Oak Cliff Chamber? How can we, and I want Oak Cliff, how can Oak Cliff Chamber help everything south of I-30? Because I think the only chamber we have south of I-30 is Oak Cliff Chamber beside the Black Chamber. So there's only two chambers we have that, you know, the city side of Atlanta, Georgia. So we got our own city inside the city, but we got to work together in order to have more better quality of life. We got trails coming here. You know, we got the light rail that came over here. The first light rail was Oak Cliff. We got trail. We got infrastructure. We got coming in. We got all these amenities. We got a bond package. Man, plus you got almost 8 council members who live south of I-30, who represent half a part of the city. With that case, I'm going to leave it to you and open it up. And I know I don't want to go into the whole lot of detail with strategy and everything. I just want to make sure the chairman can ask any kind of question. I'd be glad to open up for questions.
Excellent, Chairman Atkins. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your transparency with the vision. I think it's important that we do, and I'm glad you said that. Give what I'm going to do. I'm going to deviate a little bit from what we normally do, and I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Then I'm going to allow some of the board members, the chair first. He's here. You want to hear from we got at least 3-4 members of the board. I'm gonna give each of them an opportunity. I'm gonna give the president, if she chooses, an opportunity to share how they feel like the council and the city can support the work that they're doing in making Oak Cliff as our president's court has coined the term, Southern Sector Connector. How the council can help and the role the city can play in helping the chamber with that. And I thank her for her vision. I thank our chair for his vision, because we want to talk about the whole Oak Cliff. We want to be able to talk about the entire Oak Cliff, not just North Oak Cliff, where Bishop Art says, but Oak Cliff as a whole, southern part of Oak Cliff, South Oak Cliff, West Oak Cliff even. So I'm going to start with a couple of questions. Chairman Atkins, I want to hear, and I want you to share with everyone here, one of the most important things that this council, under your leadership, will do will be to approve this economic development plan and policy. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the draft? I've looked at it. I'm pretty impressed, to be honest, with it, because of the focus that's on Southern Dallas, the focus on workforce development. I want to hear from you. What's your opinion of the draft of the policy, and what would you like to see emphasized as we develop this policy?
I think that's a good question. The draft of the policy, anything economic development, is the bench press is money. How do you invest equity into the southern part of Dallas? And when you look at a policy, and you've been talking about equity for the longest, you look at District 8, for example, even your district, I think my district is 56 square miles. I know you're close to 50-some square miles. How can you say that you got another district, northern part of Dallas, 12 square miles? You got 12, they got 56 square miles. But we are talking about equality. And to move this policy along, we got to realize that we cannot afford to go forward without getting more equity to the southern part of Dallas. We got to get more equity to the southern part of Dallas. We were looking at just sales, the small sale. If you overlap that small sale in the whole southern part of Dallas, and you look at it in the north, it's unbelievable. It's red. And you look at the wastewater and the water south of I-30, 45 of the location, 22 is in my district and 12 is in District 3. That people do not have water. And you look at anything for north, it's zero. So this policy got to show the unequitable is there. And we got to be real, and you, the chairman, the chamber got to help us to say, we need more money. We need more equity. We need more police. We need more everything. And we got to convince the chamber to say, chamber, you got to say North Dallas, hey, for decades and decades in Central, y'all had everything. Now, you need to give some of that share at 85% of the property, taxes. We got to make it equal. For a good example, if I had 1,000 lane of road to repair and someone else in another district have 500 and I get the same amount of money, we never catch up. So this economic development policy got to show on equity. It got to be an equity. It got to have more money. I think Dr. Johnson trying to show that, you know, with project coming to the southern part of Dallas, or with, you know, with UNT, with Red, you know, Redbird with equity, that they took people in the southern part of Dallas, put their money where their mouth was, to put equity in there. But Casey, to do that, Casey, the biggest problem we're going to have to hurdle is convince our other colleagues. And I can say to the chamber, we need your help to convince them. So we need more South I-30.
Excellent. Excellent point. My next question is, as far as District 8, since we do have you and you do represent the district, what is your vision as relates to economic development specifically for District 8?
My vision for District 8 is to have a safe neighborhood, number one, a walkable neighborhood that you should be able to dine, work, medical, sleep, and walk in a neighborhood. I think we're doing a great job with that with Redbird Mall, Reimagine Redbird Mall. We got a mall. It's a mixed-use development. We have apartments over there. Now we got a medical. We got Parkland Hospital, UNT Southwest. You got Methodist Hospital. You got WellMed. You got all those amenities over there. Then also education is big component. You know, a higher the education, better quality of life you got. We got Cedar Valley. We got UNT. We got Paul Quinn College. But also you got to have the other amenities. You got to have recreation. We got Singing Hill Recreation there. Brand new recreation center. But we also got trails. Do you imagine that we have a trail in District 8? It's paid for, it's not completed, go all the way from UNT down through District 3 to Glendale, all the way over the 310 to 45 and connect the AT&T trail. Now, that's a trail people don't even know. It's already paid for, but we still on the bridges. But also we want people to be qualified, job training. And I think over there with China Solution, we put 1,000 jobs over there to train those people. The city down put $2 million to training those people. But guess what? They live within the zip code, within the neighborhood. So District 8, I want District 8 to be the person said, hey, if I want to write a video, a short video, hey, come move to District 8 because you can work, play, entertain, have a job, have education, you had a better quality of life without transportation.
You talk a lot about the tale of two cities. If you could speak directly to North Dallas residents, North Dallas business owners, North Dallas faith leaders, what would be your message to those stakeholders in North Dallas about what they can do in order to make Dallas a whole city?
You know, Casey, to do that, Casey, you're the educator. You always got to think about history. History repeats itself. You also got to think about who's in charge. You got to always think about it wasn't 14-1. You always got to think about Oak Cliff. Hey, Oak Cliff is University Park. That's where they came from. Oak, came to the city of Dallas, and the people who developed Oak Cliff, they went to North Dallas. And University Park and Highland Park, it still said Dallas around there. It said Dallas at the bottom of it still said Dallas. But it came from Oak Cliff. And all the leaders moved to North Dallas. They moved to North Dallas. And when they moved there, they put their own personal initiative to grow their neighborhood, which I don't blame them. They did that. But now it's a time for them to give back. And you'd be surprised at how many people own property in southern part of Dallas who live in North Dallas. They wait until the market change to make sure they reinvest, but we got to push them and say it's about time for you to do what? Invest in southern part of Dallas. And I did that with a Southern Dallas task force, and we did with a task force, and we had many people on that task force, and they did a whole lot of great job. 275 people on a task force. But guess what they did not do? That they were not part of the city. And if I had to go and go to SMU and talk to those leaders, I would tell them, it's your obligation. You done made yours, it's time to share. It's like the Bible. You can't take it with you. You got to share. And those people got to realize if you're going to have a great city, you got to share. You can't keep building all the way to north to the toll road to Oklahoma, and Plano and Albertson is not the part of the city. McKinney, Dallas here. You use our toll road to go to Plano. The toll road should have been paid for, but we got a toll road going back to South, and we got to tell them. We got to be very, very vindictive and very jealous and very selfish and say, it's your time to do it because this is your city. You use that water because everybody pay the same taxes. And when they look at the city of Dallas, they look at the city of Dallas. They don't look at a tale of two cities. They look at Dallas. But if I tell them, it's time for them to give back. And some of those people are giving back, Casey. Don't take it the wrong way. We got a whole lot of Dallas do give back and do a great giving back to the city, but we need more of them.
Excellent. What I want to do at this time is I want to start with the chair. Steve, council member just said he wants to hear from you as the chair of this and organization celebrating centennial this year. What can the city of Dallas do to support? If I heard you right, Chairman, that's what your request was. How can the city support the Oak Cliff Chamber? How can the city be supportive of growth and development for businesses in Oak Cliff?
Thank you, Casey. I think the thing that, and I keep repeating that the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce is not your dad's Chamber of Commerce. It doesn't want to be your dad's Chamber of Commerce. We want to be reflective of the community that we serve. And I think that our adult life in south of I-30. And I am deeply committed to my neighborhood and my community. And I think that I live in the best part of the city because of the diversity, because of just everything about everything about south of I-30 just appeals to me. But I think what we as a chamber really need to promote is not just business, and I think that both of you have hit on that issue. It's about the quality of life. People want to live in neighborhoods that they feel safe and secure, where the housing stock is good. They have services that they want. They want to be able to go to a restaurant. They want to be able to go out to dinner. They want to feel that they've got adequate police patrol. They've got adequate municipal services. They've got good schools. And that's a gating issue for businesses, large businesses, to relocate in the southern sector, because their employee base demands that. And so what I think we as a chamber want from the city is we want to see, again, the parity and the equity that you're talking about. For too long, we have done without in the southern sector. You see a heavy rainstorm and you see that our streets are flooding because our sanitary wastewater isn't adequate to take off the storm flow. So we that's what we need. I think that Oak Cliff ought to appeal to businesses because it is, quite simply, it's the best part of the city. But we need those structural things in place where we have adequate police patrol and we have good policing that recognizes the community and is responsible to the community. And trust me, I understand the difference between having police on the street and having good policing on the street that is reflective of the community and is respectful and helps the community where it needs help. So it's a whole variety of issues that come into play, but I think that's where the Chamber of Commerce really needs to be. And what I need from our city council members is to tell us, Steve Camp, I need you to go talk to banks. You know banks. You go talk to banks, and I will put on my downtown attorney hat, and we'll go talk about what we need in Oak Cliff. So help us plug in where you need us, and tell us, this is your task. Go do it, and we're happy to do it.
Thank you very much for that, Steve. I see we have a couple of more board members who are on, and I want to give them an opportunity, but I want to start and provide an opportunity for our president, Ms. Jones, if she would like to share anything that she would like to see the council or as chair of the Economic Development Committee, Mr. Atkins, give attention to. President Jones.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Thomas, and I agree with everything that our chair has said. In addition to those requests, of course, we believe at the Chamber that economic development is people development, and while the city has been extremely supportive of our workforce development program, I think that it would be helpful if we were able to continue that program, as well as expand that program. And what we're doing is we're getting our people in the southern part of the city ready for employment through education. And so we'd like to expand not only right now we're focused on the healthcare industry, but we'd like to expand that to other industries. So we'd like to continue that partnership, and we really need the city's support in order to do so.
And with that, is Chairman Jones or President of Oak Cliff Chamber, what I would love for you to do is, number one, to get engaged. Give us one or two or three demands. These are the three things that we can do, because if you put it so openly, we don't know which way to jump on the boat. But it said, let's get the three things. How if you pass three things, then we can't do it. It's this support financially, a support branding. How can we actually make an impact in the chamber? What can we do as a city? And what I love to do, if you said open to do something with the city, how can we put it into the budget into the department that you know you got a person that you can talk to directly, not trying to go all over. I got to call the city manager, I got to call the chief of staff, but who is your point person? Who is your liaison to guide you through? So we know what you're doing, and we also know what we're doing. The Oakland Chamber, one thing you can do is, number one, is you almost like the region chamber, because you go out and you support the chamber, Oak Cliff Chamber. Why should you live in Oak Cliff? You got a whole lot of amenities there that the city can help you, with sidewalks, a zoning change, all that. You need all that because you got a part of life there. Remember, you are just like University Hill and Highland Park. That's where you came from. So you are the upper echelon of the city down south of I-30, and you are very unique. You and the city down annexed you. Y'all want to de-annex the nation from the city at one time. So it's an old neighborhood. So use your strength to gain more leverage to help your organization.
Thank you.
Excellent point, Chairman Atkins. I'm gonna kick it over to my co-chair, vice chair, Dr. Seabrooks. I want you to, give some insight from your perch.
Thank you, my friend, and we appreciate you deeply, Councilman Atkins. You all are going to predict what I'm going to say. I think from the education corridor with my colleague UNT Dallas and Mountain View, we absolutely want to be out in front to help you court businesses to the region. And so please see us as a resource to put proposals, to packages together, to do customized training, to skill up our community and to prepare to be able to demonstrate that we have a viable workforce that is a hidden resource to move any industry forward, whether it's IT, healthcare, advanced manufacturing, you name it. Between all of the resources at Dallas College and UNT Dallas, there's probably not a need that we cannot address. So think about us on the front end as you invite companies to consider relocating, because we are ready, willing, and able.
With that, Dr. Super, and I think one thing that you have been a person that's kind of standing by and say, hey, what can I do? Here to help. But I think that Cedar Valley, with Mountain View and with El Centro, with all the junior colleges here in the city of Dallas, that is one thing that you can do a little bit better to help us with. We got a TMA, the Transit Management Authority in Inland Port, that we got all these different companies that come to the city and come to that one location and all the job creativity. I know Chairman Thomas got jobs over there with Home Depot and all these other businesses come in there, but we're not doing a great enough job to connect with the college. We're not doing a great enough job that when we go out there, and this is also Chairman Jones that Oak Cliff can do, along with Chairman Thompson with Economic Development. We need to go out and ask those companies, what do they need in education-wise? What they need in training-wise? Do we got to cater that training toward what Microsoft wants, or what Uber wants who come here, and make sure that our university know what's going on before they get here. We need to go out, because they will go out and put grant into that. Sometimes we sit there waiting on them to come here, and the first thing they said, you're not job ready. The education is not there. So we got to make a better job. How do we make sure that we do connect those dots before they get here? Sometimes they're 3-5 years out, but sometimes the program change your education, your path, how your course is going to be. Like we talking about logistics. Nobody knows nothing about logistics, but we had a change to make sure Cedar Valley and UNT had to put logistics there. There's a whole lot of training that we need. Technology, data entry. It's so high tech that the company said, well, they don't have it, we'll go somewhere else. But we don't know what you have to offer. We don't know how can you change your courses to get there. And that thing, the Oak Cliff Chamber can make sure you let the education corridor this company is coming here 3 years down the road. Do you have the student ready? Are they job ready? But they got to be trained. They got to be educated. And that's something where the city down, you know, we gave China Solution $2 million to train 1,000 people. And they trained them, but then too, if they were already into the college, the junior college, we would have to pay that $2 million to train because they already been job ready to do that job. So we need to do a better job of getting our students job ready for the company to come here. And we're going to make sure that the people in Oak Cliff or south of I-30, we got more people who's qualified, who is job ready, that the company don't need to go to North Dallas. They got to come south because they ready here and willing and ready to go to work.
Yes, sir, I agree.
Thank you for that, Chairman Adams. Another board member who's leading an education institution that's in your district is Bob Mong. Mong, good to see you. It's been a while, even virtually. I want to give you an opportunity to share some insight from your point of view as well.
Thank you, Councilmember Thomas. First of all, I want to thank District 8 Councilmember Atkins for his partnership in developing the Runyon Creek Trail that runs through our campus now. That project was dead until he got back on council, and we worked with the city and the state to raise money for it. And I took our new coaches the other day, Josh Howard, Rodney Belcher, and Kenneth Royal on a jog from our campus over to the Singing Hills Rec Center. And the thing that amazed me about it were all the neighborhood people, mostly ladies, walking, having a good time. The place was packed with neighborhood people using our trail. And so thank you, Councilmember Atkins, for getting that thing rolling again and taking action. I do want to say that hastening the school to job market is our #1 priority at UNT Dallas, as it is with Joe at Cedar Valley. I'll say this, when I got to UNT Dallas 5 years ago, we graduated 475 students. This year, we graduated 900. That's a 90% increase. Almost all of our students went out into high-need jobs. They're employed, school teachers, law enforcement, healthcare, business, bilingual teachers. So we poll our graduates. We only have 5,000 of them, so we can stay in touch with them. I'm very pleased with the partnership we're starting to develop with Dr. Johnson. He sent me his community transformation action roadmap the other day. We've, as a cabinet, and I'll just say, we have at UNT Dallas, we have one of the most diverse cabinets in America. 4 out of 5 of our deans are minorities, African American or Hispanic. 70+% of our staff are African American and Hispanic. There's hardly anything like it in the country. So we're a diverse campus. 86% of our students are from Dallas County, urban Dallas County. Most of them are first-generation students, or some from the some of the surrounding county, but 95% local. So we were pleased to see that UNT Dallas was listed in Dr. Johnson's report as a transformative project, along with mall areas, UNT Dallas, the Medical District, Urban Core 1, and biotech initiatives. And so we'd love to work with all of you to make that a reality. And we'll work with you in any way we can. Because I think if there's, anything that you can say about us, we're a partnership campus. We're the only 4-year that works closely with the DISD. I wish you could have been at our virtual orientation session for Sunset High and Lincoln High. Their seniors are coming to our campus as co-enrolled DISD and UNT Dallas students. Every 4-year in North Texas ought to be doing something like this. And Councilman Atkins, you talked about logistics. One of the specialty areas at Lincoln is logistics. And so they come to our logistics fair. Those seniors who are in hospitality management and logistics will be on our campus this year studying logistics. So I would say the last thing I wanted to say is I had the good fortune to be on a small steering committee that looked at living wage in North Texas. And it's not a pretty picture. Only 5 of 20 early age earners, 25 to 34, make a living wage of $50,000 or more in Dallas County. This is not the city of Dallas, Dallas County. And so the goal of this Dallas Thrives effort is to double living wage as soon as we can. And I think that's probably our #1 priority as a university too. Our vision is to be a pathway to social and economic mobility for our students. And we're starting to realize that. We have a long way to go, and we can't do it without all of you. So thank you, Casey, for the opportunity to make those observations.
But Dr. Munn, since I have you there, take you from the Dallas Morning News as an editor at Dallas Morning News when I first met you with Jim Maroney, going to UNT. I know UNT is doing a master plan, and I think that the Oak Cliff Chamber need to be part of that master plan, Chairman Thomas, because this is the only 4-year public institute we have in the city of Dallas. So it's going to reach out to the entire southern part of Dallas. Remember, the university is going to grow. It's a master plan. I just want to say, if you had to ask from the city of Dallas, and you probably already know what the chairman is going to ask you, how can we do a better job as a city of Dallas, especially economic development, whatever we need to help you and to help the chamber through education? I know you got Dr. Seabrook, you got Paul Quinn College, but you are working on your master plan. What do you envision as that master plan? I know when we first started this on the Tone Leopard, they said you get X amount of students, it's going to be roughly about $1.5 billion economic impact. Have you looked at, when you get to what level of the student you got there, what would be the economic impact, and how do your master plan would fulfill that economic impact to the entire city of Dallas?
Well, first of all, we're all about increasing educational attainment. And I think both you and Councilmember Thomas talked about the correlation between education and lifetime income, better health care, all that. So, we partner with the school district and the community college because nobody can do it alone. And we have to get more students who are not participating in post-secondary anything. They're not getting credentials. They're not getting an associate's degree. They're not getting a bachelor's degree. And we have a good fortune in Texas. We're growing, and we're going to grow for a long time. Most states are in decline in their high school graduates. 30,000 kids graduated from a Dallas County high school this May. And about half of them aren't doing anything yet. They're not signing up for a credential, or they're not going to Cedar Valley or any of the other Dallas College campuses, and they're not going to UNT Dallas or anywhere else. We've got to increase that number. And so, anything that the city, we're ready to partner with anybody. And I've spent a lot of time, I've sent Dr. Johnson our master plan as it states now. We've included the community in our master planning. I'd be happy to share it with the Oak Cliff board. This whole thing has been interactive. It's been going on for months. And we have a plan for where we are now at 8,000 and at 25,000. And at 25,000, scaling up. When you consider how Joe is growing at Cedar Valley, how Mountain View is growing, how we're growing, and the necessity of having a HBCU like Paul Quinn in the neighborhood, this is a virtuous cycle. this is fantastic. But it's going to be real hard work. But having us at 25,000, that's in everybody's best interest. And it's now doable. We didn't grow for years, but we're growing now. And you can always see the difference. Like I said, 90% increase in graduates in just 5 years. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob, for your leadership down at UNT Dallas. Not only have you led, by your words, but when we look at the diversity of the leadership that you have under you, you've led by deeds as well. I want to take a minute and acknowledge 2 other board members, Mr. Al Hernandez. Thank you, Al, for being a part of the leadership of this Oak Cliff Chamber. And Brittany, I want to thank you as well for representing Dart on the Oak Cliff Chamber. I think Crystal also, who is also part of the executive committee, Crystal, Lieutenant Council member, is here as well. So in the closing moments, what I want to do is I want to say, Councilmember Atkins, thank you. I want to respect everyone's time. We keep these meetings to an hour. Thank you, Councilman Atkins, for accepting the invitation. Thank you for sharing your vision. I want to give you a minute to kind of some closing remarks, and then the next voice you'll hear from is our chairman, Steve Camp, who will close us out today.
I just want to put this on everybody's mind. Take the myths out of Tell the Two Cities. They said we are one Dallas, and we're going to work together to grow Dallas. In order to grow Dallas, we got to work together. But we also got to remember, the higher the education, the better quality of life we're going to have. We got to put our all marbles on education. We got to have training. We got to have the skill. But we all got to have the chamber working together as one to make sure Oak Cliff is the best place to live. And we think of Dallas, think of Oak Cliff.
Thank you, members of the City Council and members of the Chamber of Commerce and our guests today for attending the meeting of the Economic Development Committee of the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. Again, I strongly want to emphasize that this is not your father's Chamber of Commerce. We believe that our community is special and that we need to, in addition to promoting economic development, promote a significant quality of life for our community because, again, we believe that provides economic opportunity for businesses when people want to live, work, play, and be part and have education here in the southern sector, the area that is south of I-30. So it's important to us that we are reflective of our community and that we're speaking for our community in a voice that is heard. And so we appreciate the City Council. We appreciate their strong leadership that they provide for the city. And we thank each and every one of you for being here. If you have any questions about the Chamber of Commerce, please feel free to contact the Chamber. They will certainly put you in touch with me because we are all about Oak Cliff. And that is the area that is south of I-30. So thank you again for being here, and we'll see you